Man, Facebook, blessings, blessings. Hope you guys ready for another blessed day. Hope you guys have the understanding that you can conquer the day. So get up, get out, and do it. Man, I just want to hop on here because I just been feeling so encouraged lately. So grateful for all the opportunities that have been coming my way this year. 2022 has been an increase, let me say, an increase of opportunities to share what God is doing not only in my life but in others around me. Matter of fact, tonight we got an opportunity to go back out to Teen Talent Teen Challenge over in Monterey County, the Crisis Center. Every last Wednesday, I literally, and this is how good God is. I went to work for an interview with the county of Santa Cruz. Came out of that interview with the job, a literally job, Wednesday, every fourth Wednesday of the month, job at Teen Crisis for Monterey County. Like, I don't get what God does, but He is just so amazing the way He moves. So we get that opportunity tonight. But yesterday, I had an opportunity to give my testimony to a youth group, man, and it was so impactful. Like, my family, my little daughter, Sadie D, and my wife Christina happened to come with me, and it's just crazy the way God moves, because in the middle of the testimony, as I looked around and others had tears in their eyes and they were holding it back, because I'm not gonna lie, I was about to cry. I was almost crying like a baby. People probably say I was, but it was just so powerful what God has been doing, because I tell people all the time, and a lot of us already know, my testimony is has a lot to do with the rebellions that I had against my dad, with bitterness that I had within me against my dad. And yesterday, I went a couple different routes, man, because my dad, short, quick thing, my dad was in a coma, and I used to have a lot of bitterness to him because I grew up what I believed was in a single parent household. My mom did everything for me, and even though my dad was in my life, I kind of looked at it differently. I couldn't see the vision that I have now. I couldn't understand it as a kid growing up. I just was understanding that, I live with my mom and that's it. And, we lived in, houses with, literally our whole family, my cousins, my grandfather, my grandmother, stuff like that, uncles, aunts. And so I held a lot of bitterness in it, and it didn't happen till I was about 36 years old, when my dad was literally in a coma, where the Lord, where I accepted the Lord, actually, you know, where I got hit in the face and understood, like, my dad did nothing wrong. All he ever did was love me. And as I'm telling him that, there was a time in the coma where literally they told us that, my dad wasn't going to make it through the night. My dad wasn't going to make it through the night. And my family, they had faith. I didn't know at that point what faith was. I couldn't understand it. I had no clue of what it was. I just thought, my dad was going to die. And I tell the story, and my buddy, I asked my buddy one time, because my dad didn't pass away during that time, and I asked my buddy, I go, do you think God would ever put my dad through that to get me to preach? Because now I'm all in for God. Now I'm all like, literally, I believe in the Lord. I trust in the Lord. I have faith in the Lord. I understand how great the Lord is, how faithful the Lord is. I understand the love that He has for us. I had to seek and search and found out that Jesus Christ did everything for us while we were in the midst of our sin. He still loved us. God still loved us. And I asked my buddy, I go, do you think God would really put my dad through that to get me to preach? And it was a question, because my buddy, he's a great guy. He was like, I can't answer that question for you, but sometimes you need to reevaluate the question. I could tell you that God knew you would come to Him the way you did, but I want you to look at that scenario of when your dad was in a coma, because that plays a major part in everything. See, you're looking at it with the wrong heart. You're asking yourself, would God do that? Why don't you ask yourself, through the faith, of the ones that were there in the scenario, did the Lord bring your dad back? I was like, what? He goes, yeah, through your testimony. You said your mom, your dad's wife, all she wanted was a Bible, right? I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, at that moment, when they said that she was, your dad was gonna die, your dad wasn't gonna make it through the night, where was she all night? And I was like, well, she was with him praying, reading the Bible. And he goes, there. She had some faith. She's activating faith right there. He goes, your sister. You said your sister. She was broken, right? I go, yeah. She had all the confidence, had all the faith until the doctors told her that, and it crushed her spirit. She spent the night crying in her car. And he goes, look, isn't the Lord near her? Isn't the Lord near the brokenhearted? Don't he save those crushed in spirit? You say that all the time, Nick. Why do you say that? Well, it's written in the Bible. I believe it. He goes, see, wasn't the Lord near her at that moment? Wasn't Jesus with your sister at that moment? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, and where were you? I said, well, I was at home, I was at home crying, praying to a God I didn't know, trying to activate faith that I didn't have, trying to comprehend it. And he goes, what happened to you that night? I go, well, I felt a peaceful feeling that I thought I was coping with death. I really couldn't comprehend it. He's like, don't you understand that was Christ that gave you that peaceful feeling? He goes, all three of you were at different places praying to the same God, activating the faith that you needed. And although you were far apart from each other, you guys were the closest you had ever been. You guys were the closest you had ever been. And don't you think because of that faith, because what you guys were calling upon the Lord, that's what brought your dad back? You ever think of it that way? He was like, Nick, you asked me, do you think God would do that? That's one way your heart is thinking. Now, let the Lord soften your heart and see it from a different perspective. And I was like, wow. I was like, man, it blew me away. It blew me away when he started telling me that. Because it is awesome. It is a heart check that we have to go through, that we have to understand how great the Lord is, how faithful he is, even through our storms, even through our trials, tribulations, that his faithfulness endures forever. And it was crazy as I was talking to him, because as I was looking at it at a different perspective for once, it just made me realize just how good God is. So as I was giving the testimony yesterday, as I was telling everybody yesterday, as I could see him, it just amazes me what God is still doing through that episode. So whatever you're going through today, I want you to get up, raise your head, and understand God got you. No matter how far you think you are, he's near. So I love y'all. Yeah, have a blessed day.